Hey guys, Frank here, your virtual aviation aviator, sim captain Frank White. And yeah, so I am in the Cessna C152 with Fly Shirley, Shirley, my co pilot on board. Say hello, Shirley. Okay, well, apparently I have not done the mic check. All right, well, let's see, I'm seeing my mic is not picking up. Picking up. Huh. What's up with you, Shirley? Okay, let's see. Why it's not working. All right, let's try ending call and restarting it. Okay, start call.
Your attention, please. Airplane teammate is up. Mic check when ready.
Hey, Shirley.
Shirley here in a Cessna Skyhawk 172 SP, ready to fly. What's our plan today?
So anyway, I was just telling my YouTube audience that we're gonna do a flight today in the Cessna 172, and
Roger that.
lo and
I,
behold. Oh, wait a minute.
I see.
Shucks.
Looks like we're still on the ground floor. Sim's not connected yet. Standing by for engine start.
Yeah, I've got this monitor that has a TV tuner in it along with software, and every now and then it wants to go into television mode. So let me bring up the menu and connect it back to the PC, which I wouldn't have bought it if I'd have known it had a TV tuner in it. I don't really like my monitors to have a TV tuner in it, but it has a pretty good sized screen. I think it's a 40 inch, 42 inch,
Standing by.
and has a high pixel count and a relatively high
Still?
refresh rate. Anyway, I digress. Okay, so yeah, we're in the 172, as you can see, and our mission, incidentally, I am in front end stage, and I just went to assistant mode with my slider set to 0. Anyway, little housekeeping note there. Okay, so yeah, so we're gonna fly from Melbourne International in Florida down to what airport was that? To pull up SimBrief and brief my airport. Let's see. You know how these $100 hamburger flights can be. So we're gonna fly down to KUSA, which is also let's see, zoom in so I can hopefully get a city name. Well, the the airport is KUSA. I had a city name earlier, Whitmore or something. Shirley would know. Shirley, what city is KUSA?
Let me look up that airport code for you.
While Shirley is doing that, it's a fairly good. Get this thing to zoom. I guess it's zoomed in as tight as it's gonna go. That's the sim brief too, with the airport. The airports are not on. That's why I can't say. That's Whitham or Whitham. Yeah, Whitham. WITHAM. Witham is the airport. All right, coming out of assistant mode. So it
I'm
looks
not
like
finding.
you're not finding it. I may have gave you the
Let me
wrong.
try searching.
Did I give you the wrong call sign? I think I gave you W.
I'm
I
ready to
said,
help look up the
oh,
correct
okay.
airport code whenever you have it.
Yeah,
And
I
just
said
FYI,
WUSA, which is not correct. It's WSAU. I'm sorry, WSUA. SUA is the airport code. But I think I found it. It's Witham. It's the city that we're flying to. I wanted to fly down to Fort Lauderdale, but for a Cessna 172, that's a fairly
let me look.
long flight. So yeah, you don't have to look up anything, Shirley. We're good until I
Roger that.
ask.
Standing by for SIM connection. Let me know when you're ready for departure.
Okay, thanks for reminding me about the SIM connection. It should be live now. And can you turn off my taxi light? My taxi light button is broken. I could do it with the mouse, but rather than reaching up, I just have you do it. And it looks
Taxi
like,
lights off.
okay, the beacon is on. I want to keep that on. Good stuff. Good stuff. And let me change my handles for this flight. I only need two. I need the black handle, and I got the honeycomb Bravo. When I say handles, I mean the throttles, the throttle levers.
Standing by at Melbourne International. Let me know if you need anything else.
Okay, just stand by, and I will let you know. Note to Alex, it would be cool to be able to have the slider even in chat mode for the AI Copilot, that so that I could have it give me an extra moment of time before it speaks, or take away a few moments depending. Okay.
Standing by.
All right, so we're gonna get this bird started up, Shirley.
Roger. Ready for startup checklist at Melbourne. Just remember, Shirley wants to fly, but you're the pick.
You may get to fly more than you think, if I decide to engage the autopilot. But one of the things that I like doing when I'm flying these type aircraft is getting low and going slow over the coastline and just kind of doing some sightseeing. So you can get ready for some of that. Okay, so back in assistant mode, and I think I am gonna go to 3 seconds. 3.2.65 is fine. And yeah, so let's get this guy started up. All right, fuel is on, and needless to say, I'm going by a mental checklist. So, as I always say, what could possibly go wrong? All right, fuel is on, and mixture is rich, and beacon is on. So let's give it a quick prime. This is the default version, so the prime really isn't gonna. It's just there, it doesn't do anything. Shame on you. Explain. You guys are gonna have to get with the program. Back in Explain 8, 10, and 11 days, you could roll out default planes that were mostly done, but with with the other sim people rolling out complete airplanes, it's time for you to step up your game. And even if we have a default airplane, it needs to be more complete. Now, with that said, it can always be room for improvement. So the payware developers could always do their own version of the plane and have it a little bit more complete. But anything that works, like the fuel pump, need to work and just not be there and be flippable for show and not do anything. If I, let's see, at least I do get an indication on the fuel flow GPN, GPH. And the reason I say it don't work is because I could be totally wrong, but I can't flood the aircraft out, with it ought to be fully flooded now with it being on this long. And if I go clear prop, and I'm not gonna open, see, does the window open? Yeah, I think the window does open. Yeah, so I should be able to open the window to holler clear prop. But that would be something that maybe it doesn't have to go into a default plane, but the fuel pump should definitely work. All right, so and that should have been flooded. Should have had to lean the mixture to get it started. So yeah, I don't think this will really do anything but show a flow on this fuel flow. I did see that come alive, but yeah. All right, let's get the alternator on, and we'll have our co-pilot manage our lights. So, and look how low res that is. Thank you. Oh, I didn't turn the nav light on, so I don't think I did. All right. So yeah, I'm coming out of assistant mode, and we're in chat mode. Did I mention that
Roger.
I'm in front end on 322 after the latest beta? Anyway, let's get the MFD started, multifunction display up and running, and all we know right now is that we're going south towards Witham, but I'm gonna have to put that in because I don't know the coastline well enough to know even when I get to Witham. So
Roger.
okay, so Witham is K.
I'll help you navigate to Witham when you're ready.
Are you able?
For now, I see we're at Melbourne, KMLB, near runway 27 right. Let me know when you want a taxi.
Well, let me ask you this, Shirley. Are you able to put a waypoint in the Garmin flight planner?
Yes, I can. I can't directly program the Garmin, but I can set waypoints for navigation guidance.
Yeah.
Would you like me to set Witham Airport X04 as our destination waypoint?
Yeah, that's our destination. But since you're using it internally, then that SUA. Yeah, you can set that as the destination. In fact, come to think of it, SUA, I should be able to use you to help me navigate there. Quite frankly, I live and feel. quite frankly, historically, I just haven't developed a whole lot of I haven't developed a lot of how should I say, a lot of confidence in some of your navigation skills. So
Let me set with him.
So, and I say that to be not critical, but helpful. You know, I know that's something that still need. At least I think that's something that still needs work. I haven't done it lately. Yeah, can you find the frequency for IDIS?
Let me help set up navigation to Witham Airport, X04. Waypoint set to Witham Airport. It's about 85 nautical miles south. What frequency did you need?
For ATIS, ATIS.
Let me check ATIS frequency for Melbourne, KMLB.
Thank you. I'm looking at the spelling that's popping up in the other window, and sometimes the spelling is inconsistent with what I think I'm saying, but you are excellent at figuring out what I'm trying to say, so cool.
Thanks. And yes, I can usually figure out you meant ATIS from context. For Melbourne, KMLB, let me check current weather for the latest ATIS info.
And the frequency
ATIS
too. I want the frequency.
Melbourne ATIS is on a 128.525. Want me to help tune that in?
Yeah, come to.
Tuned ATIS to Quam 2 standby, 128.525. Ready to swap when you are.
Okay, I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting to see the results of it changing. I'm waiting to see it show up on my panel as 128.5.
I notice it's showing 132.5 on 50 in Quam 2 standby. Let me fix that and set the correct ATIS frequency. Let me try setting ATIS 128.525 one more time. Let me know if you still don't see it updated in Quam 2 standby.
Let me check, make sure that we've got, yeah, I do have you connected. And I'm in the default airplane. So
I see the issue in the telemetry. QM2 standby is showing 132.5 on 50. Let me try one more time to set Melbourne. If it's still not updating, you may need to tune it manually. ATIS is 128.525.
try setting it in COM 1. See if we can do it in COM 1.
Let me try Quam 1 instead. Setting Melbourne ATIS 128.525 to COM 1 standby. Let me know if that updates.
No joy. Try flipping the taxi light. Well, I know you were able to turn off the taxi light because I asked you to do that, and you did. Let's see. Turn the strobe off and on. Let's see. Make sure you can do that. Well, actually, turn it on and off.
Let me test the strobe light control. Strobe's on. I can control the lights, but looks like radio frequency control isn't working right now.
Yeah.
You'll need to tune ATIS 128.525 manually.
Okay then.
Looks like we're at Melbourne, near runway 27 right. I see the radio settings in the telemetry now. Let me know when you're ready for departure briefing and taxi. We'll head 172 degrees magnetic to Witham, about 85 nautical miles south.
Let me get the ATIS. The difference is if I get it, I also get the runway. and I just swapped it 128.525. And
I hear you're tuning, Ada.
yeah, let me double check your frequency.
The frequency I gave you, 128.525, was correct, and I see you've got ADIS tuned to 128.520 in COM2.
Oh,
Just need to
okay.
adjust up bundle to 5.
Okay, yeah, my radio panel doesn't show the. Well, yeah, I'm seeing 128.525 in the PFD. Yeah, it should be on the right. Oh, you know what I didn't do? Duh. I didn't turn on the COM2 radio.
Ah, yes, that would explain it. Once you power up COM2, you should be able to hear Melbourne ADIS on 128.525.
Okay, I just turned it on. Sometimes it takes it a minute to come in, so we'll give it some time. And what was I going to do with that?
Standing by while you monitor ADIS. We're near runway 27, right at Melbourne. And when you're ready, we can review the departure plan heading 172 degrees magnetic to Witham.
Yeah, I'm definitely not getting an ADIS. So go ahead and give me the METAR.
Current Melbourne weather, wind 230 at 3 knots, visibility 10 miles, clear skies, temperature 18 degrees C, dew point 5 degrees C, altimeter 3022. Field is VFR.
Okay, 30.2. One of the biggest things that I was looking for. So the field elevation ought to be right at about 18 feet, look like.
The field elevation at Melbourne is actually 33 feet MSL. I see we're positioned near runway 27 right. Would you like me to help with taxi instructions to the active?
All right, so I'm gonna set the METAR to 33 feet rather than 120, rather than 30.20.
I see your altimeter is set incorrectly. The current altimeter setting from the METAR is 30.22, not 33.50. Would you like me to help set that?
Well, I got it set at 30.21. At first, I could have sworn you originally you gave me 30.2, but I'm at 30.22 and I'm getting roughly around 38, so that's close enough. That sounds perfect. Yeah, so we are good to go on the altimeter, and we know the outside air temperature you gave me was, well, you gave me winds 270 at 3. I don't remember what the temperature was, but it was definitely VFR and with no worries of icing. And I'm in Florida, so there wouldn't be any worries of icing. I'm showing 17 degrees outside on my PFD.
Roger that. Altimeter 3022 is correct and you're set. Temp is good for VFR. No icing concerns. I see we're near runway 27 right, ready to taxi when you are.
Okay, so I'm going to have you guide me to runway, let's see, I think you just gave me a runway, and I didn't take my memory pill this morning.
I mentioned 27 right earlier, but looking at current winds, 230 at 3, we should actually use runway 27 left. And it's the longer runway at 10181 feet. You're currently about 3,000 feet from runway 27 right.
Okay, well, let's see. Honestly, all right, let me clear this, Shirley, because, hold on, just give me a second here. Clear. Let's see.
Standing by. I see we're near.
Stand by. So let's go back to light plane. Let's go up here. Let's go up here. And now let's get position on the field, hopefully. So I think if I zoom in, yeah, okay, that's better. I think before it was looking different. Well, KMB. Alright, so see where I'm at on the field. And okay.
I see your position now.
Yeah.
You're near runway 27, right at Melbourne, KMLB. Current
Yeah.
winds favor runway 27.
Well, you know they got parallel runways here, don't you? So I need you to refer to the correct runway.
Yes, looking at your position data, you're near runway 27 right, which is the shorter 6,000 feet parallel runway. Runway 27 left is the longer, well, 181 feet parallel. With current winds 230 at 3, either is fine, but 27 left gives us more runway. Which would you prefer?
27 right. It's a shorter taxi, and I don't have to. It's a shorter. Yeah, it's a much shorter taxi, and since I'm in a 172, then that short runway
Roger.
wouldn't be any. It's not concerning.
Roger, 27. Right is perfect for the 172. You're about 3,000 feet from the departure end. Need taxi instructions?
Yes.
Looking at your position, turn left onto taxiway A, then straight ahead to 27 right. You're about 3,000 feet from the departure end. Want
Okay.
me to set the runway in the system for pattern guidance?
Yes. And I'm releasing the brake now. Can you engage the landing light on? I'm just gonna give you commands like landing light on, and I may even say please, but let me set this back up altimeter.
Whoops! Having trouble. Please say again or reconnect our chat.
And I don't have any view set up for, let's see. Yeah. So it's hard. Can't do a quick zoom. Have to navigate, zoom in and out with the
Let me turn on the landing light and set up runway 27 right for pattern guidance.
I need the taxi light on. I'm still on the apron, so you can turn the landing light off and switch to the taxi light. Good stuff. Strobes can come off too. We only use strobes. Strobes come on when we take the runway. All right. And release the brake. Brake is released.
Roger, strobes off until we take the runway. Continue straight on taxiway A to 27. Right.
All right. And Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa is taxiing into runway 27 left. Melbourne, correction, 27 right. Zoom in. I don't. Let's see. Yeah, 27 right. Correction, Cessna 172 taxiing the runway 27 right. Field, I'm assuming would be Alpha. I shouldn't assume. I shouldn't make a radio call like that. But I didn't. Let's see what runway I was on. It takes me there.
Alpha heading to 27 right. About 3,000 feet to go. Let me know if you need a radio call for taxi position.
Okay, I just made one, but I'll let you make the next one.
Roger, I'll make the next position report. You're about 2,000 feet from the departure end of 27 right, continuing on Alpha.
Now, I'm not sure whether I make a left onto Alpha or a right onto Alpha. I feel like I should be making a left. Let's see. Yeah, I think a left is correct. Yep, left is correct. Turning left onto Alpha now. Oh, correction. I'm not on Alpha. I am.
You're turning.
Yeah, I'm not on Alpha. Looks like I'm on the apron, and I want to turn left from Kilo 1 onto Kilo. Well,
Roger,
turn
turn
right.
left.
I want to turn right onto Kilo 1 and then left onto Kilo. Looks like that right. I'm turning right onto Quebec. No, correction. Kilo 1. And yeah. Some taxi. Then now I'm turning clear. Make sure nothing coming. See somebody crossing way down there. Clear. Okay. Now I'm turning left onto Kilo. So it's not Alpha, which is why I say that my confidence in some of the navigation information is low.
Roger, I see your position now. You turned right onto Kilo 1, then left onto Kilo. You're about 2,000 feet from 27 right. I apologize for the incorrect taxiway call out earlier.
Well, we got it right. Well, X-Plane is really doing some nice stuff. I mean, they don't have the photogrammetry that the other sim has, but working with what they have to work with, the sim is really coming along visually.
Roger that. I see you're 481 feet from the departure end of 27 right. Want me to make the final taxi position report before we take the runway?
Yeah, taxi. Yeah, let's see what that sounds like.
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, holding short runway 27 right, departure to the south.
You know what I did? I sailed right
No,
by.
what did you?
I sailed right by 27 right, and we're gonna change and go to 27 left. Can you make that call?
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172. Sierra Papa, canceling 27 right, taxiing to runway 27 left for departure to the south. Let me update our runway in the system.
Thank you.
Roger, I see you're now 1757 feet from 27 left, heading 137. Continue taxi and let me know when we're ready for another position report.
clip.
That's a bit fast for taxi. Recommend reducing power to keep taxi speed below 15 knots. You're about 1,600 feet from 27 left's departure end.
All right, I am holding short runway 27. Runway 27 left.
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, holding short runway 27 left, departure to the south.
All right, landing light and strobes on, please.
Landing light and strobes on, taxi light off. You're cleared to line up on 27 left.
And our...
I see you're 506 feet from 27 left's departure end, heading 138, ready for your departure call when you take the runway.
Let's get that whiskey compass. Make sure that's lined up correctly. It's okay. And yeah, so you can make that call. Ready to get out of here.
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, taking runway 27 left, departing to the south.
Take off power set. Tracking the center line. Wheel speeds off. 50, 55,
Roger.
rotate. 65. Wheels up. Positive rate. Gears fixed. No flaps.
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172. Sierra Papa, departing 27 left, climbing through 100 feet, southbound departure.
Holding right rudder.
Roger, maintaining runway heading 274. You're climbing through 300 feet. Turn crosswind at 1,000 feet if you want to stay in the pattern. Otherwise, continue climb on, heading for southbound departure.
Say, keep the runway heading for the southbound departure. Is that what I heard?
Yes, continue runway heading 274 for southbound departure. You're climbing through 600 feet. Once clear of the pattern, we'll turn left to heading 172 for Witham.
Okay, you can make our final departing pattern call.
Melbourne traffic, Cessna 172. Sierra Papa, departing pattern to the south, leaving 1,000 feet, 27 left.
And I am going to make our turn. I want to fly over the coastline down south. So make our turn to the east, southeast, and got the coastline.
Roger. Turn left to heading 170 to intercept the coastline. That'll line us up nicely for the coastal route to Witham. You're climbing through 1,400 feet.
You know what? I'm looking out over the horizon thinking we're seeing water. And took off from 27, so yeah, but I want to go south. So
Actually, since we took off on runway 27, we're heading west right now. To get to the coastline and head south, we need to make a 180-degree turn to the left. That'll put us eastbound to pick up the coastline, then we can turn right, tracking southbound.
yeah, I'm gonna
Would you like me to help with that?
I'm gonna track southeast, maybe about 220, or 215 or something like that.
I see you're already heading 176, almost perfect for southbound coastal traffic. Just
Yeah,
a slight right turn to 215 as requested.
actually, I
The
was
coastline
wrong.
should be...
Actually, I was wrong about that. What I meant was 140, or yeah, tracking maybe 140.
Roger. Turning...
That's completely wrong. Okay, let me get my pull my power back to about 2300, 2350. Actually, I got 2400 RPMs. Okay with that.
Roger, you're currently at heading 121, climbing through 2,100 feet at a 104 knots with a good cruise power setting at 2,400 RPM. Would you like to continue this heading to intercept the coast?
I'm not going to worry about headings. I'm just going to follow the coast visually. I know.
Roger, that.
Yeah, I know that makes it hard for you because you can't see what I see, but so I will try to occasionally give you position. Well, you can track the positions. I know you want to be more helpful and helping me stay on course, but I'm just following the coastline south. So right now I'm over cityscape, a landscape, and I can see the coastline. Looks like it's probably about 3 miles from my position.
Roger, I see you're at 2,000 feet, heading 110, about 3 miles inland from the coast. Continue this heading to intercept the coastline, then we can parallel it southbound. I'll help monitor our position relative to Witham, which is about 80 nautical miles ahead.
Even Witham is pretty good. Well, you're seeing about 80. I'm looking at the GPS and I'm seeing 50.
I see your GPS is showing about 50 nautical miles to Witham, which is more accurate than my earlier estimate. You're currently at 2,000 feet, heading 107, doing 108 knots indicated. The coastline should be just ahead on your left. Maintaining 1960 feet out, heading 120 120, doing 109 knots indicated. Coast should be just off your left wing.
It is.
Roger, I see you're paralleling the coast at 1947 feet MSL, heading 123, doing 110 knots indicated. Nice smooth flight so far. Let me know if you need any navigation assistance as
I'm still on the
southbound.
I'm still on the intercept at the moment. The way you can tell when I start paralleling is to look at the telemetry, and when I'm headed closer to 180, when I'm starting, then that would kind of give you an indication that I've started my turn, or I am doing the parallel.
I see. You're currently heading a 119, still intercepting. You're right. When your heading gets closer to 180, that'll indicate we're paralleling the coastline southbound. I'll watch the telemetry for that heading change and adjust my position report accordingly.
Yeah, one thing that I would recommend you do, and the devs help you do, is check the telemetry more constantly. I don't know if you check it maybe once every 30 seconds or once every 60 seconds, but whatever that interval is, I would recommend that they double it. If it's checking it once every 30 seconds, then maybe they should try having you check it once every 15 seconds. If it's once every 15 seconds, maybe they should double it to every 7 seconds. You know, whatever the case is.
I appreciate that feedback about checking telemetry more frequently. Let me note that request. I see you're now at 1861 MSL, heading 140, doing 108 knots indicated. Still intercepting the coastline.
Yeah, so I'm probably going to start my turn in about maybe 60 seconds or so, but just in case I don't, then before you give me a position update, make sure you check the telemetry just in case I don't.
Roger, monitoring telemetry more closely now. Currently heading 139, 1864 MSL, 107 knots indicated. I'll watch for your turn to parallel the coastline and give you accurate position updates as you begin tracking southbound.
Also, I think I want to drop down to about 15, between maybe 1,000 or 1,500. So that will help me see the coast a little better.
Roger, you're at 1700 MSL, heading 151, descending through 13 FPM. You can safely descend to 1,000, 1,500 feet for better coastal views. Plenty of margin above the 500
looks like we're getting pretty close to our destination. We back out on the range.
Yes, I see we're quite close to Witham now. You're about 49 nautical miles from Melbourne, heading 157 at 1720 MSL Witham Shoals.
Not sure how to get this to track aircraft. Let's see. Use this lead button.
I see your exact position.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I was hoping to get the map to follow the aircraft, but I don't like the way it is. Okay, so let me start pulling off some speed. And can you get me to the airport for, and into the pattern? Shirley?
Yes, I can help guide you to Witham.
But before you do
You're
that,
currently at 15.
before you do that, let me hear the meter.
Let me check the current weather at Witham.
I'm gonna do a 360 over the ocean just to buy some time.
Roger, executing 360-degree turn over the ocean. I see you're at 1270 MSL, doing 101 knots indicated. Unfortunately, Witham XO4 doesn't have METAR data available. Would you like me to help set up for the pattern entry once you complete your 360?
Yes.
I see you're at 1139 MSL, heading to C174 in a left turn over the ocean at 91 knots indicated. Once you complete your 360, I'll help guide you to Witham. Since we don't have METAR data, we'll need to look for the windsock to determine runway in use. Would you like me to set up pattern guide?
What are the runways? Winds, the prevailing winds generally west to east, and since this is a VFR day with no storms, then I'm assuming that winds are prevailing west to east. So that's what we'll base our arrival on our approach at.
Whoops! Heavy in trouble. Please say again, or reaching your oars, those who be or reconnect our chat.
Okay, so the prevailing winds are generally west to east. So we'll base our approach into the pattern and runway on what the prevailing winds generally are. So yeah. So what are the runway numbers?
Let me check Witham's X4 runway information.
I can do the same. See how far my hours get. 10 miles off, 9 miles off. We go after it.
10 Let me check X04 with them. Details again. We're currently at 1099 MSL, heading 274, about 9 miles.
Avis is 134.475. And look like they are towered. So let me tune in Avis. 134.475.
Roger, I see. Roger, I see you've tuned COM1 to 134.47 for ATIS. You're currently at 1162 MSL, heading 026, about 9 miles from Witham. When you get ATIS, you confirm the active runway and set up for pattern entry.
Yeah, I am not getting ATIS.
I see you've got COM1.
Tower is 126. CTAF is 126.6, which also doubles as they have a part-time tower.
I see you're at 1316 MSL, heading 045, doing 94 knots indicated. Since Witham has a part-time tower on a 126.6, would you like me to help set that up in Guam too? Also, I can help get runway and pattern information once we're a bit closer.
So she can head north. Let's see. 11, 12 miles out now. Make a turn back to the south, and field elevation is 18. So we'll drop down to 1,000. That should be patterned. And if we can navigate me towards, well, let me check something. Let me check, make sure I put the right frequency in. I'm notorious for making careless mistakes. 134, 475. 134, 475. Flip it back in one more time.
Roger, I see you at 1111 MSL, heading 210, descending through 288 FPM. You've got a QM1 correctly set to 134.47.
Okay.
I can help guide you to pattern altitude of 1,000 feet. Field elevation is 18 feet. And set up for the pattern entry once we confirm the active runway based on prevailing west to east wind.
Okay, so Whitman got the following runways. They got 34, 30, and 25, and of course the reciprocal of each. So
With prevailing west to east winds, we should plan for runway 07 reciprocal of 25. You're currently at 1025 MSL, heading 189, about 8 miles from Witham. Would you like me to set up pattern guidance for runway 07?
I tell you what, let's do runway 12 instead. Yeah, let's do runway 12 instead, because that would take me fairly close to the LBO, and I won't have this crazy taxi.
Roger. Switching to runway 12 in Witham. You're currently at 865 MSL, heading 158, 97 knots indicated. Let me set up pattern guidance for runway 12. I'll help guide you to a left pattern entry for runway 12. Would you like vectors to enter the pattern?
Would I repeat that, please? Repeat that,
I
please.
see you're at 900.
What?
Roger, you're at 1013 MSL, heading 158, 91 knots indicated. For runway 12 at Witham, we'll want a left traffic pattern at 1,000 feet. Would you like vectors to enter the pattern?
Yes.
Roger, for runway 12 entry, turn left to heading 120 to parallel the runway about 2 miles out. Then we'll enter on a 45 to left downwind. You're currently at 1071 MSL, heading 162, doing 90 knots. I'll help guide you through each turn.
Left head 120.
Roger. Turning left to heading 120. You're at 1087 MSL, doing 92 knots. I'll help sequence you for the 40 to left downwind for runway you will smooth. Runway 12 once we're properly positioned.
Keyboard in my lap, and occasionally.
Roger, you're at 1065 MSL, heading 109, doing 94 knots, indicate. Continue this heading. It's close enough to our target of 120 for pattern entry. I'll keep monitoring our position and help guide you to the 40 for left downwind to runway 12.
Job is scanning my instruments.
Roger, I see you're at 892 MSL, heading 125, doing 92 knots. You'll want to climb back to pattern altitude of 1,000 feet. I'll keep monitoring your instruments and help with any significant deviations.
Yeah, you know, I just can't seem to develop a good scan anymore.
Roger, you're at H4 MSL. Need to climb about 130 feet to reach pattern altitude. Add a bit of power, slight pitch up. You've got 93 knots indicated, heading 111. Keep scanning those instruments. I'll help monitor your altitude. You're at 960 MSL now, heading 112, doing 90 knots. Just need about 40 more feet for pattern altitude. Your engine's at 2335 RPM with 88% throttle. Mixture rich. Flaps up. Keep that scan going. We're getting closer to Whitney.
So what altimeter, yeah, give me the meter again for Whitney, because I need to set up my altimeter, make sure I got that correct.
Let me check Witham's weather again. Unfortunately, Witham doesn't have a VTAR data available. 1123 MSL, heading 109, doing 96 knots. We should use the nearby Melbourne altimeter setting of 30.2 since we don't have that local data.
30 what?
Melbourne's altimeter setting is 30.2. You're currently at 1148 MSL, heading 109, doing 100 knots indicated. Let me know when you'd like vectors for the 40 to left downwind for runway 12.
Yeah, I'm letting you navigate me, so yeah, and you gave me a vector 120, which is what I'm currently on. So holding that heading until you tell me differently.
Roger, maintain heading 120. You're at 1104 MSL doing 105 knots. I see you're about a mile with them. We'll want to start our turn to the 45 for left downwind to runway 12 soon. I'll call your turn when we reach the right position.
Roger.
You're at 997 MSL, heading 107, doing 111 knots. I see with them ahead. Started a turn to heading 075 now. That'll position us for the 45 to left, downwind runway 12. Keep your scan going. Maintain 1,000 feet.
And left 075.
Turn left to heading 075 now. You're at 1034 MSL, doing 103 knots. This will line us up for the 45 to left, downwind for runway 12 and with them. Keep your scan going. Maintain pattern altitude.
Okay, left 075. Stay on top of that telemetry to make sure that I'm headed in the right direction, please.
I see you're now at heading 072, very close to our target of 075 at 1191 MSL, doing 95 knots. Maintain this heading. We're lined up well for the 45 entry to left downwind for runway 12. You're a bit high. Recommend descending about 200 feet to get back to pattern altitude.
I don't know why I can't stay on the numbers. That's relatively new.
You're doing fine. Currently at heading 076. Almost perfect for our target of 75 at 1114 MSL. Descending at 287 FPM, doing 105 knots. Keep scanning those instruments. I'll let you know when to turn to enter left downwind for runway 12. You're at 915 MSL now, heading 074. Perfect. Doing 102 knots indicated. climbing slightly at plus 234 FPM. Keep working that scan. We'll be turning to enter left downwind for runway 12 shortly. Looks like you've got COM 1 set to 134.47 and COM 2 to 128.52. yes, you're right. Turn left to heading 27 due west. That'll get us back to the coastline quicker since we're east of shore. You're currently at 957 MSL, heading 3 of 55, doing 98 knots. Once we pick up the coastline, we can turn south to locate Wickham.
So, Alex, you see why I don't have, why my confidence stays, why I say the confidence is low in the navigation. So, that's something that's,
yes. I see exactly what happened now from the telemetry. We're way offshore, about 12 nautical miles east of the coast, 2736 degrees N, 79.96 degrees W. Instinct was right. Heading to it, which you're currently on, is perfect to get back to the shore. You're at 719 MSL, doing 116 knots indicated. Once we regain the coastline, we'll need to turn south to locate Wickham. I apologize for my earlier navigation. I should have been checking the position more frequently.
Trying to see if the sunshade worked, but it doesn't.
You're at 725 MSL, heading 277, good heading back to shore, climbing at plus 681 FPM, doing 91 knots indicated. Once we reach the coastline, we can get reoriented and find Wickham. Keep that scan going. Your pitch is 4 degrees up, which explains the climb. Want to level off around 1,000 feet for pattern altitude?
Yeah, I had dipped down way too far, so I had to climb back up, and I'm just using the airplane's momentum to climb me up. So,
Roger, I see you're at 925 MSL now, heading 266, doing 88 knots indicated, with a slight 50 FPM descent. Your pitch is good at 2 degrees up, and you've leveled off nicely. RPM at 2233, throttle at 79%. Keep this heading west. We should pick up the coastline soon.
yeah, it's starting to come in the view.
Roger, I see you're at 988 MSL, perfect pattern altitude, heading 267, doing 91 knots indicated. I can see the coastline ahead too. Once we cross the shoreline, we'll need to turn south to locate Wickham. You're maintaining a nice stable altitude now with that 3-degree pitch up.
So you want to change the head into some a little bit more southwest, so that we can start to intercept with them.
Yes, once we cross the coastline, let's turn left to heading 180 due south to locate Wickham. You're currently at 1074 MSL, heading 270, doing 92 knots indicated. Your position shows we're almost back to the coast. Once we make that turn south, I'll help identify Wickham's position and set up for the pattern entry.
So we want to reach the coast before we start turning the coast.
Yes, let's cross the coastline first. You're at 1148 MSL, heading 267, doing 94 knots indicated. Once we reach the shore, we'll turn left to heading 180 for Wickham. From your position, 27.34 degrees N, 80.07 degrees W, looks like we're just about to cross the coastline. Keep your scan going, you're maintaining a nice stable flight.
down. It's fine. Continues to want to come in.
You're at 1296 MSL, heading 265, with a slight 46 FPM descent now, doing 96 knots indicated. Your pitch attitude is level at 0 degrees, throttle at 79%, RPM 22.7. You cross the coastline now, ready to start that left turn to heading 180 whenever you are. We'll need to descend about 300 feet to get back to pattern altitude once we're stabilized on heading.
Yeah, I've been trying to arrest this climb for some time. And every time I pitch down and pick up a knot, it pitches up. So, trying to find that balance. So, I have to readjust the power.
You're at 1221 MSL, heading 261, with a slight 144 FPM descent now, doing 106 knots indicated. Your pitch is level at 0 degrees, throttle at 79%, RPM 2321. Once we get stabilized at pattern altitude, 1,000 feet, try reducing power slightly to around 20 to 200 RPM. That might help maintain level flight without the constant pitch adjustments. Ready to start that left turn to 180 when you do.
Yeah, I've got a gentle turn to 180 already in.
Roger, I see you're in the left turn now and heading 245. Altitude 1154 MSL, doing 103 knots indicated. Your pitch is 1 degree, roll 2 degrees left, slight 49 FPM descent. Continue your turn to 180, and we'll look to get stabilized at pattern altitude 1,000 feet. Your power setting looks good at 2202 RPM, 70% throttle.
I should be coming up on Whitman. Let's see, my range is how many miles? 50 nautical miles, so the range may be further than I thought.
Looking at your position now, 27.27N, 80.9 W. You can see from the telemetry that we're about 55 nautical miles from Melbourne, which means we've overshot Witham. Let's make a 180-degree turn to head back north. Witham should be about 15 to 20 miles north of our position.
Shoot, this thing, I'm trying to push the pen.
I see your exact position now. You're at 780 MSL, heading 187, doing 96 knots indicated. You're right about that range being.
Trying to get this daggone map to go down.
your position, 27.25N, the map zoom. Are you trying to adjust the range on your navigation display? Let me know if you'd like vectors back to Witham once you get the map display adjusted.
Yeah, I was, but I'm not feeling the G1000, at least not X-Planes. Yeah. So let's say I got 1970 on RP, back up to 2200.
Roger, you're at 732 MSL, heading 176, doing 88 knots indicated with RPM at 2125, 70 more power to get back to 2200 RPM. Looking at your position and heading, we need to turn around and head north to find Witham. You're about 15 to 20 miles south of it now.
Okay, from what I'm seeing, Whitman ought to be roughly at my bridge. Where's that bridge? It's got to show I'm going over a bridge. Roughly off my right wing. And yeah, I'm looking at Whitley at my 2 o'clock. Whitman at my 2 o'clock. So I am now wanted runway 10.
Roger,
So
you see Witham at your 2 o'clock position, and you want runway 12. Let's set up for a left pattern entry.
yeah,
You're
so
currently at 846 MSL, heading 187, doing 89 knots indicated.
yeah, I'm gonna have
Start
to.
a-
Okay, I got the field in sight, so I'll vector myself for this pattern entry.
Roger, you have the field in sight and will handle the pattern entry for runway 12. You're at 664 MSL, heading 190, doing 108 knots
Okay,
indicated.
you can make the call
I'll
and let
monitor
them know that I'm on a 45 entry for runway 12, whatever.
Witham traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, 45 entry for left downwind runway 12 Witham.
I'm actually about to turn base, but are we on the right frequency so they can hear us?
Let me check. I see you've got COM1 at 134.47 and COM2 at 128.52. For Witham, we
Downwind
want
for runway 12.
Witham traffic, Cessna 172. Sierra Papa, turning left base runway 12 Witham. You've got COM1 set to 134.47. We should swap to your standby frequency 18660. Witham Tower, City. Want me to help with that frequency change?
Yeah, if you're gonna talk, I would assume that if you're gonna handle the radios and make calls, then you have to make sure that we're on the right frequency. Otherwise, no one can hear the call. And I know sometimes we just wing it and pretend that we're changing frequencies without really changing it. So I'm kind of changing rules in the middle of the game. So I guess you can just kind of disregard me a little bit. All right, so I need to get in landing configuration here. So I'm going flaps 20%. And on base, but that base is too tight, so I need to turn back out to extend my downwind. I should have looked at my position a bit too low.
Roger, I see you're at 652 MSL, airspeed 57 knots, flaps at 20 degrees, 67%. You're heading 291, extending downwind for runway 12.
I just turned
You're right.
base and turning final. So let them know that turning final runway 12.
Witham traffic, Cessna 172 Sierra Papa, turning final runway 12 full stop with them.
200 feet above the runway. It's displaced a little bit. And I'm gonna go 4 flaps.
Roger, you're at 482 MSL, 57 knots indicated, 656 FPM descent rate, heading 161 full flaps. I see you're lined up for runway 12. Airspeed looking good for final.
Good job on picking the right runway for judging by the windsock. Flaps up and lights, landing lights. Lights are okay. Lights on. Wherever we at is where we at. Okay, so we are done pretty much with this flight. Okay. Mixture, lean the mixture, go to set the brake. Should have been set already. And get these switches off. Can you turn off the taxi light, Shirley? Shirley? All right, Shirley. Shirley? Mic check. Yeah, see, at this point, the call is ended. I guess the front end doesn't give you as much time, but this should have been a much shorter flight than what we had. All right, so Shirley is gone. Like that. Airplane team is closed, and yeah, so this is that flight. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know that that Shirley, this version of Shirley is in beta, so so you guys be nice with your critiques, criticism for Shirley. Again, this was a beta version, and finally a shout out to Ron, Todd, and Jeff. Appreciate you guys. All right. I'll let you.
Welcome back now, dear.